Volkswagen is the people's car, literally. Founded all the way back in 1937, the company is known for its iconic models, such as the Beetle, the flagship of the vehicle manufacturing company. Unfortunately, not all models Volkswagen created were so well received. Some of them were just straight up bad. In this video, we are going to list the top 10 worst Volkswagen models ever made. Stick with us to make sure you don't buy any of these by accident. First up, the 2011 Volkswagen Jetta. Bigger, better, and cheaper. Those are three words you don't usually find in the same sentence, but that's how the 2011 Volkswagen Jetta was advertised after the success of their 2010 model. The biggest complaints about this car were about its interior quality. Spending less on its manufacturing meant plasticky, pleather interiors designed to break off the moment the warranty wore off. Even worse, lots of customers say that the rides are noisy and rough. It has poor gas mileage and terrible ergonomics. The cherry on top is that although the car might seem to be a cheap steal, the cost for maintenance and repairs is anything but, and this car needs it constantly. Next, we have the Derby. The VW Derby is known to be the saloon version of the Polo. At first, the car was pretty popular. It made 72,412 sales in 1977 alone, but popularity does not always mean quality, especially with the Derby. Sales quickly went down and tailed off in the following years. Why? First of all, it has some ventilation and heating issues. Drivers have reported that it takes at least 15 minutes to warm up their cars, so most can only use it on warmer days. People have also faced problems with oil leaks, faulty ignition, and drive shafts. Also, the car is horrible to drive, and the seats feel like wood. The only good thing about the Derby is low fuel consumption. Third, the 2002 Passat model. If there are two things that don't go well together, it's fancy and cheap, which is pretty much how most people summarize the 2002 Passat model. At first glance, the car looks pretty fancy, but when you get a closer look, you can see it has a cheap build. The only thing this car has going for it is it's nice to look at. Apart from that, it chugs gas like water, scratches easily, both on the inside and the outside, constantly needs realignments, and is just plain slow. Thanks, but no thanks. Do we even want to talk about the Volkswagen Golf Harlequin? This car's design is just weird. Remember when you were a kid and you'd paint the sky purple and the grass orange because you ran out of the right crayons or just felt like it? Yeah, it's like that happened here. The Volkswagen Golf Harlequin looks like the German company let a 3-year-old go wild. Really, it deserves the title of ugliest Volkswagen car ever made. That's how bad it looks. Even worse, the base model for the car was an MK3 Golf. Thank God it was just a limited edition. The real question here is, who bought this clown car and why? Next, the Volkswagen Tiguan. Don't be fooled by the Volkswagen Tiguan. If you get to road test one at the dealer, they're zippy, fun to drive, and they handle quite well, but they just don't hold up over time. Unless you can drive 1,000 miles a year, it's best to stay clear of this one. The infotainment system is a train wreck, and Volkswagen knows it. Like a lot of cheaper models, the interior is a plastic wasteland, and it has a horrible resale value. For people looking for a good SUV, this one isn't it. At 6th place, we have the Volkswagen Golf MK4 Edition. Even though it wasn't the worst of vehicles, the VW Golf MK4 Edition was so unreliable and so unattractive that it still haunts Volkswagen today. This compact car, which was initially created in the 1970s to appeal to hatchback enthusiasts, has a fair share of engine issues, such as ignition failures, spark plug issues, and difficult cold starts. With its outdated exterior and quite a few problems with the engine, this car is far from the best VW has to offer. Next up, the Phaeton. Volkswagen is pretty good at designing premium class machines. However, vehicles like the Phaeton don't make the cut over here. It's not that VW is is bad at making cars like the Phaeton, it's that premium car companies like Mercedes and BMW are so good at making them that it's just too hard to compete. Car enthusiasts describe the Phaeton as a classic lemon, one of VW's worst models. While it's a pretty decent piece of technology, the concept failed to catch popularity outside of Germany. Up next, the 2018 Volkswagen Atlas. At first glance, the 2018 Volkswagen Atlas looks pretty nice sitting in a showroom, but it's only after buying and some use you realize it's not all it's cut out to be. The gas mileage is horrible, for one, and the interior design is below average at best. The car has a useless economy feature too, which shuts the car on and off and does not save any money for drivers at the gas pump. In May 2019, over 660,000 VW cars were recalled, Atlas and Passat. Because the headlight adjusters lacked a blocking cap, they could be accidentally adjusted, increasing the risk of a crash. It's just better to skip out on this one. And now, the 1987 Volkswagen Fox. The Fox was designed to be an extremely cost-effective people's car. Instead, it just turned off car buyers because it was plain slow and boring. The Fox was the same as every other economy car out there and lacked that German appeal that set it apart from the others. Even worse, it didn't measure up in the basics. For instance, a small car with only 81 horsepower and no automatic transmission option. Well, that simply didn't turn heads in America. It just didn't do as well as Volkswagen might have hoped. And last but not least, the new Beetle. While the Beetle is Volkswagen's flagship car, the new Beetle left a lot to be desired. Although it offered a smooth ride with composed handling and a user-friendly infotainment system, the slow-shifting automatic transmission and subpar fuel economy estimates were a huge letdown for VW enthusiasts. What made it all worse was that there was a ton of hard plastics in the cabin, and the car had few advanced safety features. The design is just weird and not at all appealing. The new Beetles even cemented Beetle's reputation when drivers started calling it a girl's car. Now, moving on to other news. First up, Volkswagen will sell only EVs in Norway from 2024. Volkswagen has announced it will discontinue sales of all gasoline, diesel, and hybrid-powered cars in Norway. This means that from January 1st, 2024, it will sell only electric vehicles. Norway has actually become a world leader in adopting electric vehicles in everyday life. In 2021, almost 64.5% of all cars sold in the Scandinavian country were fully electric. Compared to the US, which hardly makes 6% of EV sales right now, that's pretty impressive. Even though government guidelines would be set a year later, Volkswagen has made both an environmentally friendly and commercially smart decision. It's likely Norway will be at 95% market share of electric vehicles by the end of next year. This means that even if Volkswagen held off on putting their non-electric cars out on the market, there would be hardly anyone left willing to buy them by the end of the year. Good on Volkswagen for recognizing it and getting ahead of it all. Next, US tax credit for electric cars has strings attached. Buying an electric car in the United States of America just became more complicated. On Tuesday, President Biden signed an energy, tax, and healthcare law that EV enthusiasts should look at a little more closely. More than $370 billion in spending and tax breaks are included in this plan to combat climate change, primarily by enticing residents, companies, and electric utilities to use less fossil fuel. The extension of a tax credit up to $7,500 for the purchase of electric cars and trucks is one incentive in particular. According to the law that President Joe Biden signed last week, all EVs that are sold in the US must be built in North America in order to be eligible for the credit. In 2024, the requirements become stricter when eligible EVs must have battery components not made or assembled by a foreign entity of concern, which includes China, the world's largest battery producer. And finally, almost every Ferrari sold since 2005 is being recalled. Ferrari, a manufacturer of high-end multi-million-dollar vehicles, is recalling more than 23,000 vehicles that it sold between 2005 and 2022. The problem? According to the National Highway Traffic Traffic Safety Administration, 19 of the company's models from the last 17 years are at risk of brake failure. Fortunately for Ferrari, the solution to this problem should be simple. It will simply replace all affected vehicles' reservoir caps with a new model that has been designed to vent properly. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think any other VW models should have made the list? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.